Jai Narayan students, hope you all are fine. So now is the time when we need to start our first chapter from the supplementary book Vistas. And the first chapter in your supplementary book is The Third Level, which is written by Jack Finney. First of all, let me tell you something about the author. Jack Finney was born on October 2nd, 1911 and went for his heavenly abode on November 14th, 1995. He was an American short story writer, author, and a novelist. His best known works are science fiction, thrillers, and comedy. He basically worked on the subject of 19th century American history. His novel, The Body Snatcher, 1955, Time and Again, 1970, From Time to Time, 1995, were quite famous, and The Third Level is taken from short story collection in England as The Clock of Time. His original name was Walter Braden Finney and was born in Milwaukee, and he attended Knox College in Galesburg, Illinois. Now I'll tell you about the characters involved in this chapter. In this chapter, we'll interact with only 3 characters. The first character is of Charlie. Charlie is a daily commuter. He is 31 years of age, and one day he accidentally arrives at the 3rd level of Grand Central Station, and there he experiences a whole new world. And the second character with which we are going to meet in the chapter is Louisa. She is the wife of Charlie, who was very much worried about her husband's late coming to home. The third character is of Sam. Sam is the psychiatrist of the protagonist of the story, Charlie, and he serves as a proof for the existence of the 3rd level at the Grand Central Station. Okay, now let me tell you something about the story. This story deals with the curious experience of a 31-year-old man. The narrator interweaves fantasy with the reality in the most futuristic projection of time travel. Charlie is a daily commuter, and one day he loses his way and reaches to the 3rd level of the Grand Central Station in New York. The Grand Central Station has subways on 2 levels from where the commuters take trains to different destinations. No, the 3rd level was never built there. However, Charlie believes in the existence of a 3rd level operating in a time frame of 1890s. It is a journey back in time, an intersection of time and space. The period of 1890s represent a peaceful life, which is not possible in the present era. The story is a masterpiece of the author Jack Finney, who describes the 3rd level as a mysterious world that is somewhere between our unfulfilled desires, expectations, and dreams. From this level, Charlie wants to travel to Galesburg, Illinois with his wife. For him, it is a part of reality, while his psychiatrist friend calls it a waking dream wish fulfillment, which means a pleasant wish that makes you forget about the present. So, in this, Charlie imagines a 3rd level, whereas the railway authorities, they claim of only 2 levels. Charlie says that he has visited the 3rd level. His psychiatrist friend Sam says that it was his waking dream wish fulfillment. 3rd level imagination of Charlie is to hide from the world modern ways of life. It's an escape. His friends, they normally think that he is an escapist. So now students, I'd like you all to open page number 1 of the chapter, The Third Level. I'm going to read out the first paragraph. The presidents of the New York Central and the New York, New Haven and Hartford. New Haven is the coastal city in US. Railroads will swear on the stack of timetables that there are only two. Stack means a pile of some object. And timetable is a schedule showing the departure and arrival time of trains. But I say there are three because I've been on the third level of the Grand Central Station. Yes, I've taken the obvious step. I talked to a psychiatrist friend of mine, among others. I told him about the third level at Grand Central Station, and he said it was a waking dream wish fulfillment. Waking dream wish fulfillment, somewhat here it means hallucination. He said I was unhappy. That made my wife kind of mad. But he explained that he meant the modern world is full of insecurity, fear, war, worry, and all the rest of it. And that I just want to escape. Well, who doesn't? Everybody I know wants to escape. But they don't wander down into any third level at Grand Central Station. Here, the narrator feels that there are three levels at the Grand Central Station. In reality, there are only two. He discussed this with his psychiatrist friend Sam. Sam feels that the narrator's experience is a waking dream wish fulfillment. The psychiatrist says that he is unhappy and modern man is engulfed in insecurities and fears. So, man wants an escape from his stressful life. Dear students, this story begins with the mention of a third level at the Grand Central Station. The protagonist himself is aware that even the presidents of New York Central and the New York, New Haven and Hartford railroads would express great confidence in the existence of only two levels. But he himself has visited the third level. He himself has been to the third level. Considering the entire scenario, Charlie, the protagonist, had a word with his psychiatrist friend. He explained that Charlie was experiencing a waking dream wish fulfillment, or in other words, we can say so, that he was hallucinating, or it was the symptom of neurosis. According to the psychiatrist, Charlie was unhappy. Upon explaining further, then it became clear that it was the burden of all modern problems that is pushing him to experience the apparent perception of something which was not present. He tends to escape the reality. Charlie agreed with what his psychiatrist friend had to say, but he still found it a bit odd to have been to the third level of the Grand Central Station. Now, the second paragraph of the same page. But that's the reason, he said, and my friends all agreed. Everything points to it. They claimed, my stamp collecting, for example, that's a temporary refuge from reality. Well, maybe, but my grandfather didn't need any refuge from reality. Things were pretty nice and peaceful. Now turn the page and come to page number 2. In his day, from all I hear, and he started my collection. It's a nice collection too. Blocks of four of practically every US issue, first day covers, and so on. President Roosevelt collected stamps too, you know. Here, narrator's hobby of stamp collection a refuge. The narrator's psychiatrist friend says that the narrator's hobby of stamp collection is also a temporary refuge from reality. The narrator does not agree with this interpretation. He argues that his grandfather lived in nice and peaceful time, and if this was the case, his grandfather did not need to run away from reality. Still, he pursued his stamp collection. Here, Charlie begins to believe in the possibility that he has been experiencing all this to escape the harsh realities of the modern world. His friends agreed to it as well. Even his stamp collecting, you can say so, is a sort of asylum he resorts to in order to feel protected. On the other hand, he once again starts thinking otherwise. His grandfather started his stamp collection, but in those days, they had not seen the consequences of war, and there was peace, harmony, and security everywhere. His grandfather must have not been insecure. The collection, moreover, was amazing, with blocks of four of practically every US issue. Now, the next paragraph on page number 2. Anyway, here's what happened at Grand Central one night last summer. I worked late at the office. I was in a hurry to get uptown to my apartment. So I decided to take the subway from Grand Central because it's faster than the bus. Here now, he starts explaining what exactly happened and begins with how he chose to take the subway to his apartment instead of the usual bus after a late night shift. He did this so that he could save a little bit of time. Now, I don't know why this should have happened to me. I am just an ordinary guy named Charlie, 31 years old, and I was wearing a tan gabardine. A tan gabardine means a very firm, tightly woven fabric, suit, and a straw hat with a fancy band. I passed a dozen men who looked just like me, and I wasn't trying to escape from anything. I just wanted to get home to Lausa, my wife. Here, he describes himself as an ordinary man of 31, dressed in a tan gabardine suit and a straw hat with a fancy band. It was so ordinary that he could see other similar men at the station. He explains how he was in his normal state of mind, not wanting to escape from anywhere. All he wanted was to be with his wife at that hour. He still doesn't understand why this happened to him. Now, the next paragraph. In the previous paragraph, we studied that one summer night, Charlie worked late at the office. and in a hurry to get back home, he decided to take the subway from Grand Central. He crossed the arched doorway heading from the subway and got lost. The narrator strongly feels that the Grand Central is growing like a tree and pushes out new corridors and stairs like roots. The narrator walks down a corridor. He finds nobody but hears the empty sound of his own footstep. He finds himself at the third level at Grand Central Station. This is what we are going to study in the next paragraph. I turned into Grand Central from Vanderbilt Avenue. Vanderbilt is a thoroughfare in the New York City, and went down the steps to the first level, where you take trains like the 20th century. Then I walked down another flight means stairs, to the second level, where the suburban trains leave from. Ducked into an arched doorway. Ducked means to move very quickly. Into an arched doorway. You all very well understand. Heading for the subway and got lost. That's easy to do. I have been in and out of Grand Central hundreds of times, but I'm always bumping into new doorways and stairs and corridors. Once I got into a tunnel about a mile long and came out in the lobby of the Roosevelt Hotel. Another time I came up in an office building on 46th Street, 3 blocks away. Now here, the writer is telling that Charlie comes to the part of the incident where he enters the Grand Central from Vanderbilt Avenue and took the stairs to the first level, where one boarded trains like the 20th century. Then he went down to another floor to reach the second level, from where the suburban trains left. From there, he entered an arched doorway, and there he got lost. Now he is telling that it was not unusual for him, because even if he had come to that station 1,000th time, there were occasions he bumped into new corridors and doorways. Once he entered the wrong lobby and reached Roosevelt Hotel, and another time in an office building which was 3 blocks away. That's it, students, for today. Hope you understood these 2 pages. Study and ask questions. Thank you.